Get really, really sad because you sort of, I think Brian's missed out on sons. Brendan's missed out on brothers. And, you know, you just sort of think about them all the time because you wonder what they would have been like.
Being told your child has cancer, your world just crumbles in a second. You think of the worst, especially with what we've been through with Kyron. I mean, I thought she's going to die.
That afternoon, the doctor rang Kirsty back and said, "What's Matilda doing?" She said she's asleep. He said, "Don't let her do anything, don't take her anywhere, take her straight to hospital."
But yeah, I said to him, could it be leukemia? And he said, oh, you know, that's somewhere there on the list. But no, they're just going to do some more further testing. So when the oncologist, the paediatrician / oncologist came downstairs finally after so many hours and said to me, with 95% chance this is leukemia, the other 5% aren't any good either. You're on the next plane to Brisbane.
If you sit in that outpatient clinic in the oncology in Brisbane, you look around and you do your maths and you think, which one of these kids is going to make it and which is not? And every now and then you see a mum with tears streaming down her face who's just been told, there's nothing else we can do for you.
The hard times we had in hospital, you know, there's at least 3 times when Matilda, we're in hospital for nearly 2 weeks with her, and you know, we're juggling with Lisa like night for night, having a turn in hospital. And yeah, the first stint she had a fever for 10 days, and the doctors are coming in with a grave, sullen look on their face and saying, well, we really don't know why she's not getting better. And then we ended up down in ICU, PICU, yeah. Just for the sort of recovery unit for a few hours, and still stayed in hospital a couple of days for that, and that just takes its toll on you as well.
So that was her first blood test. Then she got her first cannula in. Those red ones are transfusions. There's a CAT scan, meow, look at this. That's the operation when she had her portacath inserted, and so on and so on. This one is when she lost her hair the first time. Then it grew back at some stage, and here, later on it fell out again.
So we've really come a long way in terms of childhood leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Survival rates from the 1950s, less than 10% of these children surviving, to currently today over 80% of children being completely cured of their disease. In the research centre in Children's Cancer Institute Australia, we developed, if you like, a molecular genetic test, a molecular fingerprint of the leukemia cells at the time of diagnosis, and then used that molecular fingerprint to detect these very small numbers of residual leukemia cells that were present and surviving treatment. This test can detect down to 1 leukemia cell amongst 1 million normal cells, something that just wasn't possible with other technologies. And so as a result of that, in using this test, you can actually tell when a child is going to relapse and therefore change their treatment early on before that relapse has occurred. When the trial was started, the survival rates in this very high-risk group were less than 40%. When we published the results last year, the survival rates were up over 70% in these children, so almost a doubling in their survival rates.
The lowest they can detect these days is 0.01%, whereas a few years ago it was 1%. When she had her bone marrow tested on day 29 of her treatments, hers was still detectable, but only just. She was 0.035%. That means a few years ago, they would have believed it wasn't there anymore, whereas now that the testing has gotten so much better, they knew it was still there a little bit, which changed her protocol, and she did receive some extra treatment just to make sure they were getting rid of it all.
But the big difference was when we heard about Matilda, that it was initial shock. But the fact is I felt that this time we've got a chance.
The intensive part of her treatment is finished. So the treatment she now receives is called maintenance treatment. So yeah, you can just hope and make the best of every day. Be the best person you can be and live every day to the fullest, you know.